The opposition leader Tony Abbott spent the past few days in Western Sydney, an area both parties are desperate to win over. Some of the most marginal seats in the nation are there, including Macquarie, the seat of the former Prime Minister Ben Chifley. These days, Macquarie has a diverse population of mountain dwellers, market farmers and Sydney's ever-growing suburbia. Karen Barlow reports.
In an extremely close fight, electioneering starts before dawn.
The idea of cleaning up the river and then using the algal blooms to try and provide alternative energy is direct action writ large.
And strategy is fine-tuned on the road.
Anne-Marie suggested that I have a look at it. We can pick one up. Sorry, how many was that? 60,000. Great.
The Federation seat of Macquarie skirts Greater Sydney to the west, covering the people who live in the World Heritage listed Blue Mountains, and after a recent redistribution, the people of Hawkesbury to the north.
It's a messy, complicated seat which has had a number of redistributions in recent years. The previous federal election, it went back to being something very similar to the seat that Ben Chifley held for many years in a distinguished fashion. It's now back to being what it was before that, which is primarily really a provincial seat with rural elements to it, on the Sydney urban fringe, really. So Lindsay is outer suburban, Macquarie is the band beyond that.
Large chunks of Sydney's food bowl are here. Market gardens cascade across the landscape. And there are people who are refugees from the pressures of the big city.
I think it's a great area to be away from Sydney. I was brought up in Wahroonga, and I would no way that I would go back to Sydney ever again.
We're only an hour away from mass infrastructure. Let's keep the mountains how they originally used to be, or a getaway. So let's keep them that way.
Although they want politicians to keep them connected in other ways.
The broadband network, I want to see it go through. I think it's ridiculous. It's copper wires 110 years old. We're going to replace it with an entire brand new system. And I think not to do that is ridiculous.
Recent polling in Western Sydney was grim for Labor. Perhaps a handful of seats are up for grabs.
Make no mistake, to change this government, you have to throw out your local Labor MP.
At the outer limits of Sydney, Macquarie is on a knife's edge. With a margin of just 0.1%, the Coalition and Labor are throwing everything at it. Attempting to replace a retiring Labor member, Bob Debus, is a public relations and media consultant. Although a local resident, Susan Templeman's opponents paint her as a disconnected spin doctor because her business is based in Sydney's North Shore.
I have raised my kids in this area. This is where my heart is. Like a lot of people, I've had to commute to the city on a daily or weekly basis for work. So many of us get on a train, 6 in the morning, come back at 6 at night. That commuting is part and parcel of the communities here.
Also facing accusations of being a blow-in is a sitting member in the nearby seat of Greenway, Louise Marcus. The Shadow Minister for Veterans Affairs is switching to Macquarie after the redistribution changed her old seat from safe Liberal to safe Labor.
We're committed to the people that I have been serving, and I'm committed to building relationship and engaging and working hard on behalf of the people of Macquarie that I'm now working for across the Blue Mountains as well.
Like other Western Sydney seats, there are population pressures in Macquarie, and employment and income are dominant issues.
For instance, the average income in Macquarie is well below that of Australia as a whole, which is unusual in and around the Sydney Basin.
The price of electricity is rising. They're concerned about if Labor are returned, that taxes, particularly both carbon tax and other taxes, will have a direct impact on their cost of living.
They're concerned about cost of living. They want better health, better education. You know, it doesn't matter what your margin is. They're the issues that are important to people.
The next political governor of Macquarie will be decided on August the 21st. Karen Barlow, Late Line.